Okay, so good morning. Today's Saturday, already December, holiday
Oh,
season.
wow. Time rips
Okay,
by
it's
so
the end of
fast.
a very painful year.
Yes.
And December 15, they'll roll out the vaccine in San Francisco, so that's good. So here I am with Muro, who is an electrical engineer. He's in Oregon, Portland, Oregon, to be more precise. And he has a very interesting topic today about the super universal memory, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
So that sounds like interesting. I know that my computer sometimes keeps memory of maybe a website or keeps memory of an email. Is that something different?
Oh, yes. This is more about technology that has been like the holy grail of computer engineers, where basically most people are familiar with RAM and ROM and hard disk and all that. Those are different types of medium storage as technology where you can store information, but each has their pros and cons. But what happens is universal memory would be able to have all the features associated with all those different types of medium in terms of speed, capacity, and so on.
Okay, so you said it's a different medium. Would that be in out, uh, uh, outside the memory or something like that?
Well, think about like we've been around long enough. We remember the 8-inch floppy disk, then they
Yeah,
shrunk down to 5 1/4,
yeah,
then 3 1/4,
yeah.
and then suddenly they went. And now I don't have one on me, but we got USB sticks and there's SD cards, and it kept shrinking. So it's that kind of technology where you could use it both internally or externally, and it's shrinking so small, and the densities are getting so amazing. But many people may not know, but the USB memory and the micro SD cards, they have a limited number of times that you can read and write to them before they
Right,
fail.
right.
So that's why the SD card hard drives are very expensive, because they got to put redundancy to account for the failure rate. With this new universal technology, universal memory gets rid of that problem, and it has an unlimited number of read and write cycles, and it has all the performance.
Okay.
So
Is it in the cloud or is it an actual hard?
it's a memory chip, but it's just like
chip.
it's fabricated on the microelectronic wafers and stuff like that. So it's fabricated there, but how it's mechanically presented to the user can be an SD card, like a jump drive, or it could be embedded on the board. It depends on how they design their computer system in terms of aesthetics and stuff. I mean, if it's in your cell phone, they could mount it there, but they could also make it a SD card so that it's extendable.
So the purpose of this universal memory, super universal memory, is to remember what you did before.
Oh, how about this is probably a good segue to transition and to some of the stuff that I want to talk about and why we're talking about it today and why I'm so excited about it today. So I'm going to start sharing my screen if that's okay.
Yeah, that will be great.
Let me just do that. I guess you'll edit this stuff up, right? Okay.
No,
Can you
I
see my
don't
screen?
edit. It's recording.
Oh, okay. Oh, well. Okay, can
Okay,
you see
go
my screen
ahead.
now?
So it
Okay.
says FET memory startup gets $20 million to
Yes.
turn logic into memory cell.
Yes. As an electrical engineer, this is like I said, since I've been studying computer engineering since high school, actually, I knew about this universal memory. So this article in EETimes caught my attention. You know, this is my news feed. And I'm like, oh, they get $20 million. But the interesting thing is they were only trying to raise $5 million. And that basically they got 4 times what they were asking for. I was like, what is going on? And then I was like, as I started reading the article and it had these diagrams and they're showing how this technology works, I'm like, this is it. This is the universal memory. And as I started reading more and more, basically they're using this hafnium oxide, which I've never really heard of. So it's a new approach. And I was like, wait, I got to dig into this company a little bit more. But for some of your audience who may not be familiar with what universal memory is in general, because the concept has been around a long time, a quick search of the internet of universal memory, and I have the references that I sent you. But universal memory has the following attributes. It's going to be operating very quickly, like SRAM. That's like static memory. That's the fastest memory we have, and it's down at the low level. Supports an unlimited number of read and write cycles. This is like your hard disk. You can read and write however many times as you want. Although the SSD cards, as I mentioned earlier, you cannot do that. I mean, the number of write cycles are in the order of millions, but most people may not do that. However, when you have temporary memory, which could thrash your hard disk, can destroy it over time. And it retains the key attribute of universal memory is that it retains the information definitely without, when power goes out. Flash and hard disk drives do this. And then here's the other key thing that's been holding up universal memory that we're going to talk about today, is having a large enough capacity to have one technology that has all those attributes. At present, we literally need 4 different types of technologies in a computer system to implement a useful computer operating system.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it seems to be like an enhanced memory stick with different other features.
So this company, it's called the Ferroelectric Memory Company. It's a spin out from a European research facility, IMEC, I believe it is. Yeah, there's a big in Belgium. They basically retain the rights and they want to commercialize this technology. And the technology, the time is ripe for this kind of thing. And one of the things I'm going to go back to the universal memory is another key attribute. The closest we had to universal memory was magnetic memory, the core memory back in the early days of computer technology, where the cool thing about magnetic memory, because it retained it when the power is even gone, that when you turned your computer on, it was ready to go where it last left off. And that's an amazing thing. So being able to do that. However, if you brought a magnet near your computer memory, it would erase that memory. And that's true with the hard disk, right? With the disk physically spinning, mechanical, it's got like the disk is spinning, the disk is spinning around, but there's like a head that reads as it spins under the head. And now there's mechanical movements involved, there's failure rates and so on. Well, this memory, there's no mechanical movement, it's all electrical, and that's another key feature of the universal memory. So, what does this mean for the non-technical folks? This is going to mean that you'll have technology that turns on instantaneously. So your computer, instead of waiting for it to boot up, it's right there. Same with your tablets and your cell phones. If you got to hit reset, we're so used to it taking so long. When this technology comes out, we may have to retrain ourselves that things could happen instantly. I mean, that's how fast this memory is. Well, that's a great segue. The other thing is we'll see faster performance, not just a boot up time or how fast it powers on, but you're going to see, because we replaced all those different memories, we're not having to shuffle memory from one technology to the other. It's going to be where it needs to be and goes to where it's consumed. So it's like we just have the one memory, grab the data, the microprocessor consumes it, and then it works on the next chunk of data, as opposed to the current method that they transfer to different memory technologies. That delay, that power is also eliminated. That's another key feature. Power consumption. We're going to perform better. The power consumption is going to be better. And what this means is that your products are going to last longer on a charge. So right now, my cell phone, I could easily run it 24 hours without having to recharge. And that includes doing some normal talking. But now, so maybe a day or two without recharging, now you'll be able to run your cell phone for at least a week, if not longer, between charges. And the same for the computers. I mean, the computers right now, they got a test at some of the tech companies where they want to be able to stream, run a movie for 24 hours. Well, you'd probably be able to run it for a week with this low.
Okay.
And another thing from a consumer perspective.
In which way will this help you?
Help who, me as an engineer?
Yeah.
Oh, I could geek out with you. There's many. I have a few more attributes, and I'll talk about from a technical perspective. I'm just going to focus on the non-technical. And then the other thing is, now we have this technology where we replace 4 or 5 different technologies with a single memory technology that's obviously has cost implications. So I think we've already been impressed with how technology has advanced further with the cost going down. It's going to go down even further with this technology. And the last and final one is we're going to improve product reliability. You know, that's kind of like, you know, with all of that memory getting removed, we save power. Basically, the products are going to become more reliable. And that's from a non-technical perspective. From a technical perspective, and the thing that even gets me more excited, as an electrical engineer and a chip designer, we use a thing called FPGAs. And FPGAs currently rely on memory to kind of boot up and configure the logic gates. Well, this memory is going to allow us to kind of like, the design is going to come up instantaneously, you know? So from a technical perspective, that's one of the things that's personally got me excited. And then of course, there's all product design development. It's just another weapon or tool to solve technical problems that are going to make us be able to do amazing things. Uh-oh. How's it going?
Are we going to double screen now? I mean, I see only you.
You see only me? It says I'm sharing.
No.
Uh-oh. Maybe something happened.
Here we go. Here we go. Now we are.
Okay, I just canceled it.
It's okay. It's okay. It was good that people could concentrate on.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, so that's kind of what's getting me excited. And I'll wrap up my thing with why I feel that this memory is not just universal memory, but it's super universal memory. But before I do that, let me just kind of, you know, go over this company. You know, I would encourage people to check out their website. It's ferroelectric-memory.com.
Okay.
And I mean, you'll include the notes somewhere. But basically, they're showing that their technology kind of scales real nicely. Again, going to what I alluded to earlier, cost reduction because of the technology they're using. And, you know, there's some nerdy diagrams here that, I don't know if you can see my mouse moving around them. Can you see it? My mouse
Yes,
moving?
I do. Yes, I do. Yes,
Yeah.
I see. I see.
Yep. Okay. So these are really cool. This is for those nerds out there that really appreciate these amazing technologies, especially the FinFET. It's going to allow scaling. It uses standard chip technologies. I think they said there's only 2 extra special masks, but it's very compatible with current technologies. Let me just do this one here. They have a really good website. What happened was they were using this hafnium for other purposes, but the researchers kind of stumbled upon this ferroelectric phase where, you know, it has to do with how they anneal. Anneal is a fancy word for how they heat things up under a certain presence of certain element concentrations. So that's what this little diagram. So there's that. They normally just do anneal to this hafnium, but if they do it with a certain concentration of silicon, it forms this ferroelectric phase. If they go above that, it does another phase. But they discovered this little intermediate phase. And what that does, there you go here. Their website's pretty good. Is maybe I could just click on this. Okay, yeah. So basically, this is the device that gets created after that fabrication process and all that fancy fabrication. And what it does for those geeks out there that maybe want to appreciate the technical side of things, and this diagram does just that, is what they can do is they could change the bias. If you see like there's the arrows going down, they could bias this channel here or in what certain orientation, and depending on how they bias determines whether this device could read on. So what happens is they will put a voltage, VR or voltage read, they're going to apply it, and then depending on the state of the gates there, the current will either flow or will be blocked. So if the VR was too high, they would always be on over here, right? But if they stay right here between this region where they can read whether it's, you know, polarized a certain way, they can basically read the device. Does that make sense?
Yeah, basically, uh, they added features to allow all this to happen. I mean, uh,
Yeah,
so so
which is
basically, I'm sure that people who are familiar with these design can see
yeah.
that better than I do. But
uh,
basically, in general, this is for engineers, or is it going to be for everyone's application?
Oh, I'm kind of today. I'm kind of talk. I talked about the non-technical benefits. From a consumer perspective, but this is really for everybody. But obviously, just like any engineering technology, the consumers don't use it, but they benefit from it. So I'm just giving a little more deeper background in case there's somebody technical in the audience is watching this.
Okay.
And
Okay. So
and then and let me see. You know, we kind of showed the slide a little bit before. Yep,
when
there's
will this be available to the public?
that's a really good question. They actually that's why I go back to this thing. They right here, this company, they went and said, hey, the technology's there, we just need to commercialize it. So and hopefully I could work with them. And I offer my services to them and they've reached out to me, cool, which is really cool. But it's an early stage of discussions. But basically, they're going to commercialize it, give it, it's already been developed to the best of my knowledge to a point, but getting it to the right volume, scale, size, like we talked about earlier about the densities, and that might take about a year or two, if it's far as long as they claim, and whatnot. So, and this is their company. So I'm still kind of learning them myself, by the way. Now, just to be complete, and since I'm indirectly promoting this company, but there are other tech companies that do similar things. There's a thing called Nano-RAM where they use carbon nanotubes. And if you go to the universal memory page that I gave, it has a link to this where they use carbon nanotubes. And there's like a more simplistic diagram, whereas you think of it as an electrical switch, right? It's a really nice diagram on here on
This
Wikipedia.
will be good for iPhone if they can keep the phone on for 24 hours or more.
Exactly, right? So that's the thing that I might think would get the technical people excited. So I don't want to scare people with the technology, but I'm pretty excited about it. Okay, so
Yeah, I
that's
mean, all people are interested in is what's in it for me. Now, if I can keep
exactly,
if I can keep my cell phone on for a week, I'll buy
yeah,
that phone in a split second
just for
because
that feature, right?
just for
So,
that feature, yeah.
and
Because
that's the
I hate having to recharge my memory in the middle of a transaction or something if I'm
but
outside.
yeah, but most technologies allows us to get lazier, and I can already anticipate it. People are going to complain that a week is not long enough. You know that,
Well,
right?
it's a bit, mine lasts, it depends how much I use my cell phone, but they would last
Yeah,
maybe 4 hours outdoors and then I have to recharge it.
give it some more oxygen, and give it like hook it back up to a lifeline, right? Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And then my computer also won't last more than 4 hours
yeah,
because I had it for a long time. So the longer you use the computer, the less the battery life is.
yes, correct. And so nowadays they're playing games. There's really no major innovations. This is why it's a disruptive innovation. This is why they only wanted 5 million and they got 20 million because people could anticipate. Even people who are not financial people, they know that this technology is a game changer and they want to get in on the action because this is going to blow up. And like I said earlier, so looking at it from a technical perspective, those benefits by reducing the power consumption, and it's going to be so amazing that I could see why. I wish I had money to invest myself, but who knows? We'll see. Maybe they could
Are
do
you going to
consulting.
invest in the company? I guess you are.
No, well, invest time. I'm too poor to invest more than time and effort because
Okay,
I'm not.
okay.
I'm the startup person that took the risk and didn't. I forgo stability and I took the risks and my quest was not for money. It was more for knowledge. And it's a trade off you make, right? I feel like I've learned a lot of cool stuff, but I don't have any money to show for it. But I'm working on that. That's why I'm doing the startups.
Well, your time is valuable, so don't feel bad about it. So if you invest your time in this, I'm sure they will compensate you.
Yeah, yeah, and this and other things too. So I'm okay. That's just my nature. I have no plans of retiring. I love engineering, so it's just the way I prefer to roll, anyways. And then, so I covered the highlights of what I wanted to talk about, but what I want to kind of end it with why I feel this is super universal memory. One of the things I kind of alluded to was, if you put the magnetic memory, you could erase it with a magnetic. You just kind of put a magnet to it. Same with the hard disk that spin, on the wheel. Well, this technology is not affected by magnetic fields, so you don't have to worry about it getting erased accidentally because of being near a speaker or something. In the old days, like our cassette tapes or VHS, you put it near a magnet, it's erased, right? You gotta be careful about it, and that's not a problem. The other thing that I'm shocked that this technology does very well is it's radiation proof. I actually worked on a project where we sent memory into outer space. Well, in outer space, there's these gamma radiation. There's radiation from the whole galaxies and universe, and they could come in and disturb circuits and memory, and they could flip it. Like DRAM is very known to be dangerous because it's like charged ions flying through the air, and they come at such high energies they can go through anything. And we actually would have to shield the memory. There's this we call mu metal that would shield our DRAM from the radiation. But even with that shielding, the stuff still gets through. So what we'd have to do is we'd have to scrub the memory and make sure it has the right state. So we'd have to continually scan the memory. And doing that, it takes a lot of power and effort, your resources and reliability issues. And that's just making sure it maintains its contents. Well, this memory is radiation proof, which blows up.
Okay, so basically, this company is in the Silicon Valley or somewhere else?
They're actually based out of Europe in Dresden, Germany. I want to say, Dresden.
Germany. And they're going to go public in the US, or you don't know?
I do not know the details. I'm still kind of learning about the company. That was because that's how I came across. I just happened to be reading this article in EETimes about this company, and it caught my attention. Whenever I see something related to memory, kind of like I take time to read it, especially when it said turn logic into memory cells. They got my attention.
Nobody knows what to turn logic. You mean the internal coding of a computer will turn into?
Well, it's that probably gets a little more technical than we probably want to get here. But basically, logic is what we build microprocessors from. Logic. You ever heard of AND OR, exclusive OR gates, and things like that? Those FPGAs or field programmable gate array is basically a collection of logic gates that allow us to design, digital circuits that do multipliers, adds, and so forth.
Okay. Looks like these people are a private company, but they still raise money.
They still raise
money. Series B funding. Okay.
Oh yeah,
they're getting there. They're moving along.
Yes, and then there's one more other feature. Well, it is magnetic proof. It is also radiation proof, but it also is protected against electric fields too as well. Well, there's electric fields that uses high electric fields to change the state of it, but even in the presence of like electrical lines. So when you send your memory through the X-ray machine, well, that's more the radiation at the airport. It's not going to disturb this memory, and so that's why I call this super universal memory, because some of those other memories don't even have those features.
I see.
And that's what's getting me really excited about this company, the technology. And I messaged them like, hey, I'd like to help them out in some way if I can.
Oh, that would be wonderful if you can do both, your startup and this.
Yes.
But it looks like a technology that's gonna really revolutionize the way we look at our cell phone or our computer if we can have extended life on it,
Yeah, I figured I had to put something in there to get the non-technical folks appreciative of this technology.
Definitely. Now for the memory, now for the memory part, it must be also awesome because if it increase your memory, that would be good too. I mean,
Yeah, I'll go ahead and stop doing this. Yeah. Yeah. I'll stop sharing. But yeah, no, that's has got me excited. And I figure since I seem to put a smile on your face about extended battery life, I've got you excited as well. That was
I
my
think
goal.
it has a lot of potential to interest big companies.
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, if other companies don't work with this company, they may be left behind big time.
Oh
The
yeah,
technology. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
If the word gets out that this actually could be real, people are gonna
Yeah.
grab it real quick, right?
Exactly. So I just figured this is
But
something I want to
on
share.
Wikipedia, it says they started like in the 50s or even earlier to develop this. So it has been an ongoing research.
This is the holy grail of computer architecture.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. This is like you get this, you win the game.
Ah,
You know, because everybody needs your technology. You know,
wow.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It looks like everybody. I'm sure that the super big companies are aware of this without telling
Oh,
you.
very aware. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I
They,
just want to make the public aware that maybe, you know, they may not, you know, people, you know, the regular folks may not see it coming. So I just want to give them a heads up because technology changes so fast.
yeah.
That's what I love about electrical engineering, and I've yet to be bored with my profession. That's why I have no
Yeah,
plans
this
on
is like uh, a dream come true for consumers too. So
as
that's
well.
wonderful that you discovered it. Did you just discover it by chance scrolling through your Wikipedia?
Oh, uh-oh, what is that?
Oh, that was an outdoors. I didn't close my window, but
Oh, but no, I discovered it because just you know we got to keep like financial people study the markets, right? Well, EETimes is one of the things I subscribe to, and they just basically it was just a news feed instead of Financial Times. I read Electrical Engineering Times. You know, it's just you just pay attention to news. You got to stay alert to what's we can't watch everything, so we leverage the efforts of reporters like yourself. And so I hope to give a perspective, and you can share this with your viewers. I hope they
okay,
enjoy and get something out of it.
that's good. Thank you so much for making us aware of it because I was totally not aware of it. Even after you presented it 2 weeks ago, I didn't know what was it about, but now I
Yeah,
understand a little bit better.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so the so if it will extend memory using when you say extend memory, you mean space to record more stuff, or it means something else?
Well, no, it extend memory in terms of as technology keeps improving, right? So we're going to get it scales to densities. So we're going to get terabytes. If you check out, if you share the links with the viewer on the information, they can look at more details and study the company because they're probably going to keep updating. But it's going to extend the reliability of products, not only the battery life. When you do the battery life, it's not just saving the battery, but that means you're not heating up the device. Remember there's some of the
Oh
cell
yeah,
phones
yeah,
run
that's true. You heat
that.
up the device.
Yes, that causes failures. It's just like anything that heats up, it's going to fail, right? You know, it's
Exactly.
stressing it. Like your
Exactly.
car heats up.
That's
So
how
if
we that's how we have to replace our computer because they burn.
exactly. So this by using less power, it's going to extend product life. It just means we can buy that many more products. I mean, there's obviously the usage. You initially were excited about it, but the overall product reliability.
I
It's
know
just
we every year or every couple of years we have to buy a new computer because everything wears out.
we'll get. You know what's going to be really disruptive? As I was talking to you, and it just popped in my head. All I don't know if you know this, but the data centers, all the cloud computing, the electric bill every month is higher than the cost of the computers themselves.
Really?
Yes. So now you have this technology that can reduce the power and then improve the reliability. That's why I say if they get this out, they win big.
They win big on all of
All
sides.
fronts. It's like well, that's why this is a
Like on the
super disruptive.
hardware, on the electrical, on everything.
Yes, and basically imagine Google, Amazon, and all this company having to replace all their hardware, and they will do it because that cost will be less than they pay on a monthly basis.
Yeah, of course. Plus, I'm sure Apple Computer will be the first one on this.
Yeah.
That's why they keep it secret. Maybe they want to make a deal with this company.
Yeah, well, they still have to develop it, and let's see how it goes. And like I said, I'm excited. The CEO actually reached out to me on LinkedIn. I guess I was surfing his page and stuff and whatnot, looked him up, and
Wow.
so I'll see what he has to say.
Cool. That is so cool. So I'm glad this actually exists. I thought it was not even in existence, you know.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's going to be a reality. I mean, it's...
Yes.
So, yeah, so thank you so much for presenting it. I'm sure that people are going to say, is this for real or is this just paper? Is this just hypothetically? But it's real, right?
Yes, very. You know, one of the things that people that may not realize it, a lot of technology, and this is probably a good point to bring up, is technology tends to go through phases, and we actually call them winters. Like for example, Bluetooth was this technology like, it's not good, and then it kind of went out of popularity, and then now it come back, and it's like they fixed it up and they came out better. Well, the same thing happened with artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has been around since the 40s. It got more attention in the 60s, then it got popular again in the 80s, but it wasn't until 2000 it's like, oh, you better get on this time. So AI went through about 4 or 5 different, quote, winters. And as you pointed out, the universal memory has been a quest since the 50s, and it's gone through some challenges. It's definitely, it may not be a year or two, but it's coming. People are not forgetting this dream or vision. So it's just when it's going to come out is the big question. And this is a big step toward that.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Manuel. So next week we'll talk about your other very interesting topic about bootstrapping, which you're going through yourself right now, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So you tell me what day or time you want, and I will send you the meetup.
Okay.
Zoom.
And it may not be next week. I may have to check my schedule because I'm still in the process of moving and whatnot.
Yeah. So whenever you are available for half hour or an hour. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful weekend, and I enjoy seeing you and presenting this. So I will send you the link to the show.
Okay. And thank you for inviting me. Thank you for inviting me. Hopefully everybody gets something out of it. Okay, bye.
Yeah, thank you.